I'm going to do my speech on terrorism. What is it? Who does it? Why? All three of these questions are open for debate. Today I will tell you why the subject of supposed terrorism should be banished. Firstly, what is terrorism? I'm sure that you've all heard about terrorists destroying the Twin Towers, suicide bombings in Iraq, and killing innocent people, good people, buses, trains, all sorts of things. In this case, you'll go by the definition of terrorism. Systematic use of terror manifested itself in violence or intimidation for generating fear. Of course, the obvious example is Muslims, one of the two scapegoats of over the course of time would be along with Jews. There's a second definition too. Technique used by governments to manipulate public opinion in order to further an agenda and used as a method of propaganda. Let's discuss for a minute a possible terrorist scenario. 3 trains and a bus were bombed, killing 56 people. That morning, an anti-terror exercise just happened to be taking place as well that deals with the exact same bombing scenario at the exact same train station at the exact same time. Coincidence? Perhaps. But what if the same thing happened on 9/11? Impossible. Some say no. Reports and media embellishments have indicated the exact thing on the morning of 9/11. It is suggested that NORAD, the U.S. government's defense force on aircraft attacks, were doing an exercise that morning in which a terrorist boards a plane and guides it into the towers. This just mouths a cover-up to me if in fact is true. Next, how did the towers fall? No steel building before or even since the unthinkable has ever fallen. Yeah, we are meant to believe that 3 buildings fall down, even though one of them, Tower 7, was not even hit by a plane, and the towers were designed to sustain such an attack. Is this tactic pulling at straws, so to speak, in order to have us believe our own country would forge and execute an attack on its own people? I think not. The public then asks, why hasn't either the Bush administration or some element of law enforcement in the United States issued a single solid piece of evidence regarding the situation and the hijacking to the hijacked airplanes? Or what about the question, why don't the alleged hijackers appear on the airport security videos? Why aren't there credit card records of their ticket purchases? With billions of dollars of windfall profits made by savvy investors in the days before 9/11 and an FBI investigation that insists nothing was amiss with these spectacular deals. Of course, we don't get the details, only assurances that the trades were not suspicious despite patterns and results that were unprecedented in the entire history of financial trading. We have reports from firemen of explosions at the base of the Twin Towers before they fell, and the seismograph of evidence to back up these assertions. But folks, I ask you to wonder about these proclamations and consider how falsified and unfounded they sound. Why would a government, number one, do such acts against innocent people, citizens, and any foreign people in the country at the time, and number two, admit to guilt of such acts? It just doesn't make sense, and if it doesn't make sense, it can't be true, right? According to the unfounded reports, Al-Qaeda does not exist except as a boogeyman invented by Western powers to justify their evil agenda. There were no hijackers flying those planes on 9/11, and honest FBI agents have been prevented from publicizing that fact. The only question that remains is, will the American public awaken to this murderous scam before the preparations achieve their objective and bury the whole planet in the flames of their insane perfidy? Although 9/11 was one of the most violent and deadliest events in United States history, don't allow yourself to be brainwashed into believing that it was a cover-up or grand scheme. That set in motion a litany of ramifications and deaths that were unnecessary and unwarranted by the United States government. In concluding my discussion to you on supposed terrorism, I ask that you make no conclusions based upon media and outside sources without properly researching the evidence yourself. Opinions should be left outside the media ratings box with hard evidence only presented to the public. I have prayed for the victims of 9/11 and have prayed for our governments so that both entities find healing and peace in the relentless pain and suffering. I ask that you do the same, and I ask that you consider terrorism as something other than just a person or persons wielding a backpack full of explosives and detonating it inside of a crowded shopping mall. Consider terrorism to be embellished with fear and fear of the unknown. Then and only then can you find peace and healing within your world.